Off and running. Buster back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Riley Williams. Goes for the three. Touchdown.
All right, everybody, welcome into another edition of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. A rare Saturday morning, Juan Trevor, during the snowpocalypse that's going on.
Hey, it's the off season. We're in it.
We do what we do, kind of like
That's
Pete
right.
Golding.
Oh God.
We'll talk about that one later. But yeah, welcome you guys in. I know some of you guys are probably dealing with power outages right now. Here in Texas, it's kind of starting to ice over right now, but not crazy where I'm at. We're maybe going to get like a quarter to half inch.
All I know is Alabama's freaking out. So like I didn't have to go into work today. So woo.
I know, and you guys, I mean, the bread's gone, the milk's gone. We all know the drill.
Dude, the little Debbies are gone.
Everything is cleaned off the shelves. So let us know in the comments.
Little comic relief in your stay in. You're trying to stay warm.
If you're using the last your phone battery, watch us, and that's great.
Boom.
But guys, we're gonna just talk a little bit about the national title. We didn't really get to it, schedule and all that stuff, but we're going to hit a little bit on that, and then we're going to talk about this new playoff format for 2026 and the big hoopla about that, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about Indiana and are they a one-hit wonder, the Darian Mensah situation, Miami, all that type of stuff. So let's just get into and coaching, top 10 coaching hires from the offseason, what Trevor thinks and what I thought. So let's get into it, Trev. With the national championship, really, I thought it was a great game. The viewership numbers were fantastic on it. I mean, everybody wants to see, the
storylines wrote themselves, literally.
And I mean, they weren't the underdog, Indiana, but everybody's like, no way, there's no way that this story's got to end, right? But no, it didn't. It did end in the greatest way it can. They won a national championship, and people are at is this one of the greatest teams or stories ever? I mean, it's pretty goddamn impressive. What Sig and them have done. But really, just when you look at that game, the ground battle we talked about was going to be huge, and it clearly was between both of them. Fletcher had a strong game, and he finally broke one loose. And then, on the other side of it, the defenses were getting after it early. And then that fourth quarter just exploded, Trev, and poetically ends with Carson Beck throwing a pick.
Yeah, well, we said it when we did our preview on it that Carson Beck has to be stellar.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't think he was.
Yeah. He had some misses.
He had some misses, and obviously throwing into double coverage on the final drive, not exactly the way you want to end your drive.
Yeah.
And to end the game, for lack of a better term. I know he was trying to fit it in there, but it was an underthrown ball, and he had the corner was underneath, the safety was over the top. That was like the worst decision.
Yeah, it was a particular
throw.
It was
a duck.
Just flopping up there, and honestly, I don't think he saw that corner dropping.
I don't think he saw either that, or he just didn't see the safety being able to get over the top on that receiver, and maybe he thought he could drive it over the top. I don't know, but in that particular scenario, they had time enough where they did not have to go for the deep pass.
Yeah,
and that's so
That's why I think I feel like he just did not see that coverage rotation. And that's, you got to give props to Indiana. They called the timeout. They get their defense set the way they want because Miami was driving. Right. He had a good game. Carson did. But there were still moments where you're just like, oh man, come on. You gotta hit those. But yeah, that last pass, just, the way his career ended, kind of the way everybody shit on him so long. Just kind of sucks for Carson, but still a great game for Miami. And, I'm sure they'll be back in the playoff conversation soon. We'll talk about them here in a little bit.
Yep.
And same about Indiana. But Trev, with the way that things are going 2026, you want to move on into that unless you got anything else?
Yeah, let's talk about the CFP stuff. Yep.
So there's changes, and this was agreed to upon in 24. So this wasn't just like the group of 5 got 2 in, we're making changes. This was agreed on with a memorandum of understanding back in 2024. But now all the Power 4 champions are going to get an auto bid. So what we saw last year with just the highest 5 group, the top 5 conference champions get in. No, it's going to have the 4 power conferences are going to have an AQ, 1 group of 6 AQ, and that's it.
So ACC, get your shit together, because you would have had Duke if we were doing that year.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part about all this is Duke would have been in, JMU would have been out. Oh, and let's not forget about the Notre Dame clause.
Don't get me started. Fucking
how could we forget? And there was some back and forth for a minute after this was announced. Well, is it an independent clause or is it just a Notre Dame thing?
No, it's just Notre Dame being fucking special.
And what's crazy to me is every conference commissioner voted for it to happen. They said, "Yeah, go ahead."
You want to know why? Honestly,
that money.
It's all about that money.
Who did they pay?
Everyone knows that while they hate them, Notre Dame draws.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just a draw.
I mean, the brand is massive.
The brand is massive. The brand is known worldwide. Notre Dame is just known. And
absolutely.
As much as I hate to admit it, that is a fact. Yeah. But them still being 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the ACC and getting basically an automatic bid for themselves by themselves is absolutely ridiculous.
I agree. And this is one. So again, they would have been in the playoffs this year with the current format. So Miami would have been out if this format currently happened this year.
Miami would not have jumped them.
And JMU would have been out.
Yep. I'd be okay with JMU being out because they got fucking torched.
I've got stipulations on how I would run, like this decision. If you're
why don't we do that? What would you prefer to see?
So I don't mind auto bids. I don't mind it for conference champions. I think that's fine to a point. But if you're not in the top 20 and you're like, I could see a 19-20 team like Tulane getting in, I was fine with. They played pretty competitive against Ole Miss. They get down, they would drive, but they just could not finish. Whatever. Right. I don't mind that. But to me, if you're past that, you forfeit your spot and your auto bid for the next at large.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I would do. Notre Dame would have then been in this year. JMU would have been out. Tulane still would have been in. Duke would have been out because they're a conference champion. But you're like 5-loss team. You're not getting an auto bid. Sorry. So that's kind of what I would do. Then your at large is still get that molded.
Personally, I just wish they'd get rid of auto bids all the fucking together.
I know that's a big feeling out there. It should just be straight seeded top 12.
Seeded. Like if you are kicking ass and taking names and you win your conference championship, odds are you're in the top 12.
Yeah.
If you are a 1, maybe 2-loss team, you depending on who you are, because we all know it's a popularity contest more or less than anything else. But generally speaking, I feel like the auto bids just need to go away. Group of 5, I know that you've had really good teams in the past, and I know that you guys can get one up in the top 12, but this would pretty much eliminate you if we took away auto bids, because you would have to be an undefeated group of 5 team. And really, in my opinion, that's who should be in. If you are undefeated as a group of 5, you get in. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you lose and you don't win your conference championship on top of that, sorry, you're out.
Yeah, I know.
As much as I like Group of 5, I like Group of 5, but there is no realm where I thought, even just going through the season, that I thought JMU would have been competitive against anybody in the play that got in the playoff this year.
Yeah, and their one game earlier on the season, they had lost against Louisville. It was close, but again, Louisville weren't a playoff caliber team either. So I get those arguments. I like the protection of the auto qualifier for the group of 5. I think it's important for the sport, but I understand why people, or like what you're saying, Trevor.
Yeah.
And we go back and talk about this new format and the Notre Dame clause, and people are like, well, so what? A top 12 team gets in the playoff. Who cares? Because Notre Dame would have to be in the top 12 to to get that. But again, to me, it's just that special.
So therein lies where the problem is like, if we go like, okay, so who cares if they're in the top 12, they get in, no big deal. Well, it becomes a big deal if the second team from the ACC happens to be, we'll just say there's 2 ACC teams that are both ranked in the top 12.
Yeah.
And one of them's on the cusp. One of them's ranked 10th, and the other one is ranked 5th. They go into their conference championship. That 10th ranked team loses, but doesn't lose by that much. Would you really want to see that team get out because they're a one-loss team?
And they're playing an extra game.
And they're playing an extra game. They're going to get punished for it. And then all of a sudden you see Notre Dame get in before them. Honestly, that is my biggest problem with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Getting an auto bid if they're in the top 12, because they don't deserve it, especially this year's schedule. If you go look at Notre Dame's schedule this year, it's going to be cakewalk.
Yeah, 26. It's definitely a lot lighter than it was this season.
I mean, BYU's on their schedule. That's great. They go play out in Provo.
They've got like 3 good ones, and then so I agree. And again, they would have bumped Miami this year, and to me, that's ridiculous. But it is also ridiculous. On the other side of it is that Duke would have gotten in.
Right.
Like, that's ridiculous. They don't deserve that, even if they are a conference champion.
Exactly.
So there still needs to be some changes. The world isn't falling apart.
Do you think I really like the idea of I don't really like the idea of a 2014, but I really don't mind the idea of a 16-team playoff. I really don't.
Yeah,
I don't mind that idea, because if you're going to give Notre Dame, and they're going to probably hang on to this as long as they can, this automatic, as long as they're in the top 12, they get in. If you're going to keep that in play for this time, then I really do think you need to give the teams that would drop behind them an opportunity to get in the playoff and see if Notre Dame can still hold their weight against some of these other playoff teams that they're jumping.
I've seen a couple of things that I like, and the Gruden method was one that I like, having the play-in games of everybody that's sitting around while the conference champions are playing that extra game.
Mm-hmm.
Pate put out one recently where you still have the bowl games, but it's a 13th data point.
I think we also should eliminate week 0 and make that week 1.
Week 0 should be week 1. Yeah, so we know there's encompassing issues. The calendar needs to be fixed. There still needs to be some adjustments to the college football playoff. And I think it can be kept at 12, but you have, instead of a play-in, like what Pate was saying, I kind of like it, where you have a select number of bowl games, like 5 or 6 big ones, like the Pop-Tarts Bowl, like, the Cheez-Its Bowl, whatever, the Citrus Bowl. Have that, your bowl games during conference championship week. And these guys are that 13th, method of getting in. Hey, if you win that bowl game, you're cemented into the playoffs. If you're the 6th ranked team and you're playing the 20th team, well, now that 20th team, if they win, well, they might be able to slide up into that top 12. Yeah, they might be able to slide up into those things. So I think
guys, just remember, I know you guys are watching on X and Facebook and stuff. Come into our chat, the chat box, and throw in what you guys think as well. Throw in your scenarios you want.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we want to hear you guys. We really want to hear what you have to say, what you think about it. This is definitely a show for you guys to vent your frustrations all day long. As long as we're here, you got a voice, and we will pop you up on there, pop it up on our screen as we go along. So if you got something to say, drop it in.
For the fans, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Come hop in, guys.
At the core of everything, we are fans. We love doing what we're doing, but we like to hear from you guys too. So please drop it in. Go on Facebook Live if you can't access the chat on X. Go on our Facebook or YouTube and drop a chat in there, and we love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, YouTube helps a lot too, guys, if you jump on there. But yeah, there's ways to do this. And at 12 or 16, I really don't want to push it too much further. I definitely don't want the 24, but I think 12 can be done. I like
Big Ten's outside their mind, and I'm a Big Ten guy, but that is just straight crazy.
It's to me, you nuke the entire regular season any further you go. But regardless, with what's going on with this next year, I think the biggest thing is conferences need to adjust their what's it called? Their tiebreakers. Like, there's no reason that Miami should not have been in the ACC championship. I know that they lost the 2 games. But Duke being in that is ridiculous. Like, there's got to be some adjustment to tiebreakers, bring back divisions. I don't care.
Absolutely.
The conferences being this big has really thrown a wrench into the playoff issue and the playoff plan. So we've got to, I know college football is a reactionary force. It just kind of is. There's no preemptive strikes. We're not, doing the deep fight. It's straight up. Well, shit, something happened. We got to find a way to fix it.
Right.
Like, where is the forethought? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
If we're thinking of who else is out there, like,
there's got to be some logical voice in the room that is like, come on, guys, let's think about this logically.
I think they're just too busy dealing with lawsuits to give a shit.
I just think that there's too much money going around, and like they're trying to make sure that I don't even know if they're trying to make sure it's fair and equitable. I just think everybody's trying to get theirs. And not giving a rat's ass about anything else.
I don't know, man. I mean, they have these meetings all the time, and like I said, the changes are taking place. So we'll see what happens with it. But again, let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you guys.
Jump in.
Do you like the new system better than what we just had this year? What changes would you make?
Would you prefer the 16, or are you on the outside looking in and one of the minority people that think the 24 team and more of the FCS model is more what you want to see the mainstay college football go to?
I've seen those models. I mean, the games would be cool. I'm not saying the games would be great.
Here's my, devil's advocate to the FCS model for big time college football is that more teams would have playoff home games or at the university stadiums, which I think would be such a cool atmosphere for a playoff game to be more playoff games to be held at the universities as opposed to the bowls or whatever. I just think it would just be better for college football and just in general the popularity. I just think that would be phenomenal. That being said, I'm not sure if I want to see 24 teams. Now, if you do 16 teams and maybe the play-in games are not bowl games, but the play-in games happened to the higher seeded and you go to their university to play or whatever, then, well, I'm all for that too.
And I'm cool with that too, is having the play-ins and then bowl season starts right after. I love bowl season. It's important. We need to keep it around, but we need to have some adjustments to the playoffs. Exactly. Not a lot, little tweaks. We don't have to blow the whole goddamn thing up and make something new every time. Don't reinvent the wheel. Fix little parts of it. Fix the spoke.
That's right. Yep.
All right, let's move on, Trev.
Let's move on. Indiana, are they a one-hit wonder?
People are saying, like, there's no way. And I'm seeing this online. I'm like, how can you? There's no way that they're getting back in it. They're done. Well, this was a one-hit wonder. Well, they've been in 2 straight years.
I mean, the consistency is already kind of there, and what they're doing in the portal, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what they're doing in the portal, I mean, they're doing pretty darn good and setting themselves up for next year. From what I understand, Signetti's got the quarterback for next year that he wants. And they're bringing in wide receivers. They got some good defensive players coming in. On top of what they're building, what they already have on the roster. So I think that's not a one-hit wonder. I think you're going to see them at the top end of the Big Ten, competing against the Michigans, the Ohio States, the Oregons. There's a couple teams that I think that are going to be jumping back into the mix, like USC, for example. And I think Penn State's going to recover just fine. We'll talk about them probably here in a little bit as well. But I just think that Indiana's here to stay, and it's going to be crazy to say. And you guys got to take into account that while it's Indiana and they have a stigma with them over the course of the many years that they've had a football program, you got to understand with the NIL, most of the Big Ten schools that are currently, they are also the highest grossing schools, and they have the most billionaires as alumni that we're talking. Indiana's got Mark Cuban, for Christ's sake, as a backer.
I mean,
we all know Mark Cuban is not afraid to throw his money at something.
Especially sports too.
Especially sports, because he loves his sports.
So I just think after what we've seen from Signetti and this national title run, putting down good teams, I I just think it's insane to say that they're not going to be in the conversation for the top of the Big Ten again next year. Exactly. So long as he's there and so long as he's going out and getting, guys in the portal, like you said. Josh Hoover's coming up from TCU. That dude's got a live arm. He's very talented quarterback, makes good decisions. So on a better roster, a better team than what TCU has had this year, I think he's going to be absolutely dangerous.
Yeah. Currently, let me see. Currently, Indiana has the 7th best transfer portal class currently in the country. Yeah. And that's only behind LSU, Ole Miss, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, and Oklahoma State. And pretty good company to have Indiana in. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. And clearly their talent composite and all that stuff doesn't matter. It has not mattered, the last 2 seasons they've got there. They did the first season that Sig got them up there. You could tell that there was, some holes in the team.
There's some gaps. Yeah, for sure. There's some gaps for sure.
Look at what they did in that jump. So you take the talent that they're getting now, and these are all good players, top-end wide receivers. Nick March is going to be a hell of a weapon. Harris on the back end, coming over from Penn State. You get Shaz Preston coming up from Tulane. So you've got your weapons. You're going to have your edge rushers. They've got guys to plug in losses that they've taken from graduation, from the draft. I think they're just going to reload, guys. Really do. And we'll get into that again in the season previews, when we get it.
Yeah, we'll dive into it full bore here in a couple months from now.
They have a good way of getting team guys that are bought in, that are ready to play. They're going to fit the mold. They're going to listen to the coaching staff. That's what they need, and that's what they've done. So, yeah, I think Indiana is going to be right back at it. But again, let us know, guys.
Let us know. Drop it in the chat. What you think? If you think that Indiana is, as long as Signetti's the coach, here to stay, or if you think that they can even survive after Signetti, which would be an interesting conversation to see if they can survive the retirement of Signetti, whenever that is, assuming that he does retire a Hoosier.
Oh yeah, I feel like he's there for good. We'll move on to the next one. It's kind of the Mensah situation. Also,
the Mensah situation,
Miami. And, will Miami be back? Well, they've got pieces all over the place. They've got a loaded talent for Miami, but they're waiting on a quarterback. Who the hell is going to be the quarterback for the Hurricanes next year?
They do not know.
This is where we come in and we talk about Darian Mensah.
Because Mensah waited to the last day of the portal, and he's like, I want to enter the portal.
It was like the 10th hour, of the last day, and he is like, you know what, I'm jumping in.
And you know what? If he wasn't the starting quarterback, I don't think Duke would make a big deal about this.
Oh, they wouldn't give a shit. Okay.
But he's the starting quarterback, so they're making a big deal about this.
On a 2-year contract. And this is where the legality of all this stuff is going to play into it, Trev.
Yep.
Is people are like, well, why care? Why do you care what some kid's doing? Well, he's not a fucking kid. These are young men. Okay, they're adults. They're making adult decisions with adult money. We have to stop pampering these people. We've got to. He's already making, I think, $4 million a year per his contract. He's got, I think the revenue share is a part of it too, just like what we saw with Damon Williams at Washington.
But his was pure revenue share.
Yeah, so they're like, hey,
that's why they could stop it. That's why they were able to stop it.
The Big Ten contract on that really, I think, saved Washington's ass, and they don't want to go to court, the players. So now Mensah, they're like, hey, you can't do that to us. Like, we had no time to go and find a top end quarterback to replace you.
Well, that's where I have the issue that Duke is like, but we didn't have time. Man. Yeah. So shut the fuck up. Deal with it. You're a fucking big time program. You'll be fine.
They'll find a way.
You'll find a way. But here's the thing: it's like, I understand it sucks for Duke, the program, but you come out of this looking like a whiny bitch. Because Mensah's not saying anything. He's just keeping his mouth shut and let things play out the way they're going to play out.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of holding serve. But Duke comes out of this looking really bad, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, Mensah looks bad too. Yeah. But I think Duke looks worse because, look, you did the contract, fantastic. There's really no writing in the contract that holds him to it legally, because they aren't labeling him an employee.
Well, yeah.
So legally, they got no leg to stand on.
And this is where, like, I disagree that Duke looks bad, because to me, they've got to protect themselves financially too. Yeah. And they need at least to be recuperated something, like what we saw with Sorsby.
And you know damn well if they would have if they go to Miami behind closed doors, be like, hey, buy him out.
Yeah.
Buy out the rest of it and give us the $4 million that he would do next year.
So that whole thing is it's just a mess. And this is one of the problems with the portal and, tampering and all this shit. And we'll talk about, that later with regards to Dabo. But it's just one of those things. I don't mind Duke going out and saying, hey, fuck you. No, I'm going to sue you because you left in the 11th hour and we have nobody to go get. And you're also taking our money. I need to at least be reimbursed. So the judge even was like, hey, look, he's allowed to enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
However, he's not allowed to commit anywhere. So he's sitting there waiting. Mensah is. He can't commit
for a decision from the court to say, yeah, you can go wherever you need to go.
Yeah. So there's a temporary restraining order on that, and Duke's they're just battling it out. And I think that's the important thing here is the legality of it all needs to find some left and right limits. So I don't mind the schools challenging these players and these agents, because most of them aren't agents either. They're like your peewee coach that you've known for 20 years, and you're like, okay, yeah, you can rep me. The guys that are just out there trying to hump money. So I think it's fine to get some left and right limits here in the legal channels.
Yeah.
And that's going to rein in everything. It's going to take some time. All this does. But this whole Wild West that we've seen, it'll get reined in. The more courts get involved and the more we get some limits and some better verbiage in these contracts for the players. So that's why I don't mind it.
Here's my only problem with, I got to focus this on position wise. So here's my problem. So Duke says, oh, well, you have no way of getting another quarterback. That's wrong. Because right now there are still quarterbacks that have not, they're just sitting there waiting.
True.
They kept their name in the portal and have not signed with another person. So like we have Parker Navarro from Ohio University that could step in. He's actually got a good skill set that what Duke wants to do.
He is. He's just waiting on eligibility, unfortunately. But
yeah, but I'm just saying, like for example, like there's some quarterbacks that there's serviceable quarterbacks that could run your offense. They're not going to be Darian Mensah. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But Mensah's already out. Like you might as well just count him out, because even if somehow, some way you keep him, it's going to be a shell of what he's not going to be wanting to be there at all.
Yeah.
And he's going to wait for the next transfer portal next transfer cycle to open, and he's going to be gone. That's basically what's going to happen. He's going to ask to be redshirted or something like that. I don't know.
That's the toughest spot there. How do you even go back into that locker room?
Exactly.
I mean,
that's
Damon Williams. He did it. He's like, hey, I messed up, guys. I'm sorry.
But there's a few of them. I'm looking at some available ones. Donovan Leary from Tulane, 6'2", 215. He's labeled as a 3-star. I don't even know this university. Western Carolina. They have Western Carolina's quarterback. He's small, but he could do. Penn State, Beckham Kritza. Penn State quarterback. He's still in the portal. He's 6'5", 199 pounds. I'm just saying, like, if you have if you're confident in your coaching staff, you could maybe get a couple of these guys in and have a quarterback competition.
Yeah,
that's my only argument to them saying there's people there that they're not
that level though.
You're not going to get that level. You're fucking
if he entered earlier, he could.
You're fucking Duke.
Oh, shit, they got Mensah already out of Tulane. There was plenty of fish in the sea. That's why they're like, hold on now, come on.
Duke is acting
to replace
Duke is acting like they're like legit powers, and they're not.
Hey, they're ACC champs, baby. Come on now. Hey, look, they can go get Jake Garcia out of the fucking portal. He's been hanging around he's been in football for like 20 years. He's transferred.
There you go, veteran.
He's waiting on an eligibility clause too. Now, if Parker Navarro does get it, okay, go get that motherfucker, because he tears it
legit.
Up.
He's legit good.
But now I get what you're saying, but at the same time,
I know it's a shitty no way around it. It's a shitty situation for everybody. Like no doubt about it.
However, oh my God.
However, there are avenues that Duke can take to go get to fill their quarterback room with a bunch of talent and see what they can turn it into.
And just hope something happens. I'll say one other thing on this is they can't attack Miami. Somebody was like, well, why don't they go after, the other school? Because he's not committed there yet. There's nothing that says it's Miami that's doing it, even though we all know the crystal balls are all there from 24/7. Yeah. But it hasn't happened. So it's
and really, Miami could probably fix all of this by like, hey, here's $6 million for a $4 million contract.
Yeah. Hey, let's settle this outside, offline. Let's make this shit go away.
Yeah. But here's the buyout. Just let him transfer. Just let him do that. And here's $6 million towards your NIL that you can put towards other things.
And that Miami's just like, no, you know what? Screw you.
Yeah, that's probably it. They're like, fuck that shit. You guys make yourselves do whatever you want to do.
You guys won you won the ACC. You're big dogs now, right? Big dog. Let's go. I don't know. You guys, again, let us know what you think about that whole situation. Is it worth it going after the players and the, or is it, who cares? Who gives a damn? It's their right to transfer. And I don't mind. I mean, legally, constitutionally, they have the right to do whatever they want. I mean, they're people. They're not just some
human beings.
Little special bubble that college football was in for so long. But I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on, Trev. And this one we're
Top
talking
10
about
coaching hires in the off season. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. During the season,
during the most awkward scheduling conflict known to man in college football.
Fix the calendar, people. That'll help, but a little bit maybe. But we saw head coaches get fired in week 4. Speaking of you, James Franklin, and a couple others. But we're gonna drop our top 10 and just kind of how they've done in the portal.
And here's our top 10 as it sits right now.
And let us know what you think. And some of this is based on, like, for me, what they can do in the short term, like how quickly can they jump in, to winning games. Trev, I mean, I want to hear from you. Yeah, Whittingham first. Obviously, that's a huge hire for Michigan.
I just think,
upwards.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Failing upwards, legitimately. I put Whittingham first just because I just think that out of all of the coaches that they could have gotten, that's by far the best one. Yeah. Lane Kiffin is never somebody I want to see in the maize and blue ever. Ever. James Franklin, same deal. The only other coach that I would have loved to see in maize and blue went back to his alma mater and re-signed with them, and that's Dillingham.
You're on the Dilly train.
Literally the only other coach that I would have wanted to see in Michigan, because he's young, he's smart, he knows his ball, and he is all about ball. Yeah. And he doesn't do the drama thing. He's super family oriented, all that stuff like that. So like in every other way, he would be great, but I love Whittingham. I mean, hopefully he sticks for the whole 5 years and we can really build something. And then we have a good succession plan after Whittingham. Did I say Dillingham or Whittingham? I don't know. Whatever.
It's a lot of ham, but I like Whit. I've got him at number 2. And again, just it's crucial for this Michigan team with the talent that they have to have some semblance of security and normalcy compared to what we've seen the last few years, and then how it went down with Sharon, being a goon goblin. But it's just, I think it's a hell of a hire. Everybody pretty much agrees that Whittingham was a top 10 coach in college football.
That's right.
Just for what he did at Utah, and how long he'd been there, and his ability to continue to win. And then he had the Pac-12 titles last 2 years in a row. So I think it's a good hire. I think it's smart. But I've got Franklin at number 1 simply because I think Virginia Tech was in such need of somebody to pull them up out of the darkness. And I think Franklin can do that. I know what we said about him at Penn State, because it's true. He had struggles against the biggest games, the biggest opponents.
I think
it's a different level.
Yeah, I think he got lethargic. I think he just got stuck in a 10-win rut, I guess you could say. And
that's a good rut to be in.
It is a great rut to be in. However, like when he changed over, like you could just see a whole different level of passion from the very first press conference at Virginia Tech. You could just see that he's like, I guess you could say the word would be invigorated,
Yeah.
ready to go, all the things. And he managed to keep the former Virginia Tech head coach on his staff,
Yeah.
which is
I mean,
actually really cool, to be honest with you, because I think that kind of helps keep some of the roster integrity together.
yeah.
So
It
Brent
does.
Key is I think is he the offense or defensive coordinator? I can't remember which one he got
DC.
hired. DC, right?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
it's just one of those. I think it's just smart to do and to keep, like you said, the continuity. And that's one thing we didn't talk about with Whittingham was, we can flop back to it real quick. What Whittingham has done to keep the Michigan team together. A lot of guys entered the portal, they've pulled out, so they're now back at Michigan. They went and got key pieces that they need, new wide receiver core. They've revamped everything, special teams, all of it. So I think that adds into why, Whittingham's in the top 2 for both of us was the ability of roster retention.
That's
And,
right.
Back to James Franklin, pulling guys from Penn State, pulling recruits from Penn State. And you could tell, like you said, he is reinvigorated. He's excited to be there.
That's right.
And I just don't think you're obviously not going to get that same, depth of the conference in the ACC. There's good teams out there, and I like the ACC, but it's a different beast. You're not having to play Ohio State and Michigan almost every year. You're not having to play, Oregon and USC and Indiana now all the time. And you could just tell when Franklin lost one of those big games, whether it be close or whatever, he just had this just defeated look. Like he's like, God dang it, man, again. And I just think he's going to be able to really elevate Virginia Tech, beyond, like Kiffin. We can move on to him at number 3 for me, and you number 2.
Yeah.
I feel like LSU could have gone out and gotten if
Anybody.
Kiffin moved on somewhere else. If he went to Florida, or if he stayed at Ole Miss, they probably could have gotten.
It's one of those jobs that if LSU calls, you listen.
Yeah,
it's just one of those jobs.
That's why I have it a little bit lower, is because look, he's obviously a good coach. He still has never made the playoffs. I'll tell you that, I joke about that, but how do you leave before you get the goddamn playoffs? You finally get there and you leave. But,
I think they could have actually won the Natty if the whole staff was good to go. That he stayed, and I think that Ole Miss had the potential to actually win the Natty with everybody intact, no distractions whatsoever.
Yeah, that would have been something. But that's why I have them a little bit lower, just because I think they could have gotten anybody. But Kiffin still, he's recruiting well. He does that. He runs the portal well. He does it. He did it at Ole Miss. He's already doing it at LSU, and they're gonna be a loaded team. They're gonna be contending, unlike what Brian Kelly had them doing. So you're at least gonna see that upgrade, and that's why LSU obviously they're gonna be coaching hires top 3. I just have my reasons for the first 2 being above Kiffin.
Yeah.
Trev, what about?
Yeah, Summerall, like for me, I think that's just hands down home run hire for Florida. I loved what Summerall did at Tulane, and I think that I'm thinking of the right team, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm just like I'm looking at my list. I'm like, fuck, where'd they go? Where'd they come from?
I know. I probably could have redone the graphic to show that.
No, Summerall at Tulane, I thought that was a great hire, smart hire actually, because he's already recruited in the South before, and him just tapping into the Florida pipeline, I think is going to be it's going to set Florida apart from anybody else in Florida. I think even Miami, definitely Florida State, because Florida State's irrelevant in Florida at this point. I mean, they're more like South Florida is more relevant than Florida State at this point.
That seat is hot, boys.
Dude, I don't even understand how he kept his job, but whatever. I digress.
That's besides the point. Go ahead.
That's beside the point. But no, I really think that Summerall is going to do something great with Florida and bring them back to the top end of the SEC.
That's why I've got him at 5.
I just think that it's a home run hire. And we just, and I do feel the same way for Campbell. It was just a flip or flop. It was a 4 or 5 for both of these guys for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so I've got Summerall at 5. It's a flip flop type thing. I agree. He's a great coach. He wins. I think he is going to be able to recruit well there and change that culture. From what you'd seen. So I think it's a good hire. Florida's in a good spot. They're another one that they make good hires typically. No, last couple have been kind of off. Like, why Billy Napier? Well, he did good, in the group of 5, level, and he had chances, but they also just faced horrifically tough schedules too. So it's just
I feel like the SEC screwed them real hard on a couple of them seasons.
Florida was taking it, man. And then I look at Campbell. I've got them at number 4 because if you remember, I know it's been a long season, and hell, even the off season already, it's getting long with my number 7 coach. And I just thought the way that they came out, they had the battle with the Mormons. Penn State did the battle with the Mormon Church and trying to get Kalani Sitake, and Crumble Cookie comes in and saves the day, and they put a bag down and keep Sitake. And then they're like, well, shit, okay, what do I do? Well, Campbell's just sitting there like, he's been at Iowa State. He's like, I would like a chance, guys. I'm over here. Don't forget me. And they get him in like the 50th or 60th day of this damn coaching search. So I was like, you know what? To go and get him, I think that's good. He's been able to keep the roster pretty well. He's going out and he's hitting the transfer portal, getting good players. And even on the recruiting side, he's in on it for a 5-star running back. So that's like, okay, hold on, Campbell's recruiting like that right now? I know it's Penn State. Penn State's going to attract guys like that anyway, but you still have to be the coach and go out and get them. So I don't know. I think that's an important one for Penn State to stay in that realm of 10 wins. I don't know if he'll elevate them, but I think it's important for them to stay, because I always said for Penn State, if you're going to fire Franklin, you got to find somebody that can at least win like he does. But
at least,
the fall off.
And I would say that Penn State's kind of sitting with the same formula that they did before, right?
Yeah.
They found a fairly successful coach at a middling Power 4 conference or team, excuse me.
Yeah.
And that's where they went. They went with Campbell, who's kind of been stuck at Iowa State, not really getting much opportunities, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
His name, I find it weird that his name hasn't been thrown around in coaching circles before this, really. And maybe it has, and it just didn't pan out. But I think he's going to do real good for Penn State. I think that Penn State's going to kind of adopt that pesky attitude that Iowa State always seemed to have.
And I just wonder if they can take that next step with him, or if it's just going to be the same old thing. Because at Iowa State, I know the talent level is different than some of the teams that Campbell played, but still. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And then obviously our 6 through 10, as you can see, is a little different.
It's a little different. If you want to run through yours,
yeah, sure. So Chesney at UCLA, I thought was my from most of these hires, he's probably my favorite, because I want to see UCLA do good, and I think he gives them the best opportunity to do that. I think that overall, I think Chesney's going to have a rough first, maybe second season. So I'm hopeful that UCLA gives him some rope.
Yeah.
Gives him some time, because with the way UCLA has been, it is kind of one of those things where it's a program that you need time.
Yeah.
To find the right pieces that fit. And it's also, it's one of those things where UCLA is a tough place, just kind of like Stanford, to recruit because of their class schedules, their workload, and the requirements for the university itself. So like that's where I think a lot of it's going to be. And so with that said, I think Chesney's going to do good. Number 7, I have Fitzgerald, because one, like, I feel like that for Michigan State, coming from where they have been and what they've dealt with, the calming, solid presence that Fitzgerald can bring. While a lot of people may not know him across the country, Fitzgerald, whether you like him or hate him, did great things for Northwestern.
He did.
In their program. And he was always a well-respected coach throughout the Big Ten. Nobody had an ill thing to say about the guy. He always did things the right way, which really Michigan State's been missing for the past few years.
And
so true. Michigan State, you did a good thing by hiring this guy, and hopefully you keep him around for a while.
And I know that he got fired from Northwestern because of this, the hazing scandal. He sued him. He's like, hey, I'm wrongfully terminated. This is horse shit. He's back in it. And I do think it's a good culture hire. You're going to find somebody that resets what Michigan State was under D'Antonio. You need that.
Hard-nosed,
Maybe
Big
not
Ten
winning
guy
as much as D'Antonio did, but Michigan also was down at that time. It's just a fact. But I do think it's a good hire for Michigan State.
Yep.
I know he's been sitting on the sidelines waiting for all this legal stuff to clear out, but I think it's a good one.
And then the most, I mean, for my number 8, I have it, but it's still the most disheartening hire for me. Not because of UCF. They got a great coach. In my opinion, they got a great coach. I think that a lot of these teams overlooked him once again. Just because he didn't have head coaching experience means nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Means absolutely nothing.
You were talking about Penn State needing to hire him.
We are talking about a guy that has consistently for the past 5 to 7 years been the best overall recruiter and the best wide receiver developer in all of the country. There is nobody better.
He pumps them out. I mean, it's
nobody better than Brian Hartline. Since he's been on the Ohio State staff, he's been knocking it out all the way up to leading up to offensive coordinator, where he's been in a system that really pumps out good coaches all the way across the board. He has been around good head coach. Man, this hurts to say it. He's been around great coaches and been around so much experience that I feel like taking him as a head coach is not as big of a stretch as most people think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And then
but for him to go to USF, he's going to kill it with the recruiting down in Florida. He's going to beat Florida State if he ever has to play them. Like, it's not going to be a big deal for USF to be in the top 25. I don't think.
Yeah, I think they'll pick up where they left off. I think it's a good hire.
It'll be solid.
I can see why, a big program doesn't want to take a risk, especially like Penn State after they just fired James Franklin and everybody's like, well, you just picked a coordinator. We need a damn coach. But I think what you saw, even with Ohio State, some of their fans would agree, some maybe not. But once he left and he wasn't their offensive coordinator, they felt like they took a hit, in the playoffs. And then, well, hey, what happened to our team? Like,
I found it weird that he was at that game but wasn't allowed to coach. I found it weird.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be fine. I think that's a good hire for him. And I've got a list of like all the coaches that are hired. He was my number 12. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a safe, smart hire, and just let him go.
Yeah. And then my last two, Golish, formerly of USF, and then Morris are my last two. I picked Golish because, frankly, I just think Auburn needs something. And, I'm giving them the number 9.
I just hope they give them time.
I don't know if they are, though. It is a hotbed.
The way Auburn fires coaches, man, it's like
it's insane. And then I think Morris is going to do great things from North Texas. Basically, it is Oklahoma State / North Texas players.
And it is, and it's the same way for Penn State. They're basically Iowa State. So you just see what these talent levels can do, and that's why I've got Morris there at 6 because again, Oklahoma State has just been in the dumps, and their fans are just hungry for at least 3 wins, maybe 4. So you go out with Morris, and he's won at North Texas. He goes on and brings basically his entire offense up there. So now you got Messamaker going to Oklahoma State. So this offense is going to move the ball. You're gonna see more excitement from the Okie State fans and the team, and I just think it was a good hire for them, especially in the short term. I don't know how it will work in the long, but right now I think it's important for them to start winning again, so they don't get left behind in the recruiting rankings and in the portal. Golding. I mean, he just won some playoff games. I got him up there, and then all this shit comes out from.
We'll talk about that after we're done talking about this, but we're going to dive into that.
I made the graphic before Dabo. Sorry if I'm getting too loud. Before Dabo fucking shit canned his ass on at the meeting, but whatever. I think he's won some games for him. He's won more than Lane Kiffin has in the playoffs. So I think the way he played it through all the adversity that they had, to me, hey, that's actually a pretty good hire. You know, he's doing pretty well. He's doing good in the portal. He's getting guys in the portal. So I think that's a solid hire for him. I've got Klein at 8, just because Kansas State, I think, going out and instilling him from, I know he's, you know, that's his school. He played there, but stealing him away from Texas A&M, good for you. You got a guy that can go out and show, like, hey, I've played here. I know what it means to be, you know, a mangy cat, if you will. And sorry, Colton, you listening, buddy? I hope so. But no, to be, you know, Kansas State, I just think it's a good move for him. His offenses are fun. So we'll see what they can do in the Big 12. And again, that conference is so open. You know, I know Texas Tech is pouring their cash in. Everybody else is too. So I think Kansas State, it's a good hire. Scally for Utah. I know he's been a head coach in waiting, but to me, just keeping the continuity of what Utah has been, I think it's going to continue. I think he's got that method. I think that it's going to be kind of status quo there. You're going to be at the top of the Big 12. You're going to continue to push. I think it's a smart, safe. It's been in the writing that's where I'm going. And then Rodgers.
I still think Scally's got a lot of work to do to win back some of the Utah fans, because I feel like some of the Utah fans are Michigan fans right now.
Oh shit, I don't know. They were until
they'll be fine. I mean, I've seen a few of them say, "Michigan, we love you, but Whittingham sucks."
Yeah, they're on the full-on screw Whittingham train now because of some of the hires that he's made and the players he's gotten. But that's part of the game, man.
That's the nature of the beast.
I mean, he's their head coach. What do you expect? These guys are like, you know what? No, I'm not going to follow him, you know, across the country.
Yeah, exactly.
But and then I got Rodgers at Iowa State just because what he had done in the FCS, and then he goes and he coached at Washington State. He had some tight games against Ole Miss, against others throughout the season, and you get more talent at Iowa State. He's doing pretty well, with roster retention and trying to get, the portal going. I think it'll be an interesting one for down the line. Not maybe necessarily right now, but get 2-3 years, I could see him still playing well and being in that upper echelon of the Big 12. Agree. But we'll see. I kind of like that one. And then outside that, I mean, there's so many other ones. Charles Huff at Memphis, I thought was a good pick. He'd been doing well down at Southern Miss. So there's plenty of good coaching hires.
Absolutely. And go ahead. So I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see. And with all these coaching hires, and Brendan already talked about them, with all that being said, we are going to talk now about Dabo Swinney and Ole Miss tampering. Supposedly.
Hey, look, Dabo brought receipts, but he brought a whole goddamn transcript, like 10 minutes
of when he talked about the coaches talking to the players talking to the coaches,
the agents,
literally
the GMs.
Golding texting the fucking player. How dumb are you?
While he's in class.
How dumb,
hey, buddy? Here's a picture of the contract with a mill on it.
Hey, Kiffin Jr., chill.
Don't you know to let other backdoor channels do your dirty work? Come on now.
God bless it.
Like,
Kiffin's probably just sitting there like, man, there's so many easier ways to do this.
Kiff's like, man, I guess I didn't teach him enough.
God bless it.
Ole Miss being dirty, shocker. Doesn't surprise me. But
hey, I mean, they got to get good somehow.
It's the nature of the beast. I know everybody's tampering effectively, but I do think that this
is a whole different level. This is a whole different level, in my opinion. He was in the portal. He chose Clemson, signed with Clemson, is doing classes at Clemson, and another university is trying to get him to transfer again.
Yeah.
Is whole different level, in my opinion. Like, once he's out, like, you shouldn't even try and contact this kid.
Yeah, and we're talking about Luke Sorelli. He's a linebacker, came over from Cal.
From Cal, yeah.
Good young player. And he's like, no, I don't want to. Again, these are young men, but they are impressionable. And this is where I think they need standards to. Are we just going to teach everybody to be shitbags as kids?
I'm just going to say
young men, and then shitbags as adults.
As a 42-year-old, I'm going to tell you, if someone sends me a picture of a $2 million contract, I'm fucking gone.
Yeah. He's like, well, that looks pretty damn good. I can buy a lot of Xbox games and whatever. Only never mind.
Like,
I won't say that.
whatever cars, whatever I want to get. I could buy a damn house
if it should run more OnlyFans subscriptions.
God
but
bless it. Here we
go. I had to. I'm sorry, but it's just one of those.
But
this is where we have to have left.
What do you want
limits.
a 20-year-old kid to do when you're having a 40, 50, 60-year-old coach sending you a text with a $2 million contract for 2 years, $1 million each year?
Yeah.
What do you want these kids to do? Like, these guys, they can only be like, hey, mom, dad, what do you want? What do you want me to do? I was like, well, I mean, as a parent, I'll be like, I want you to set yourself up for success long after your college career. $2 million does a great job of doing that if you do it right.
Yeah, the other side of it is some of these kids, they don't have good homes, or they don't have. I don't know about Luke's situation, but some of these they're trusting these agents that they have. Again, maybe peewee coaches.
I don't even call them agents. They're advisors. They're advising them,
and they're not even good at that. So there some of these guys that didn't have good homes, that didn't have families that like, hey, you set up, you committed to Clemson, you're already in classes, you need to stick to that. Look, you made a choice. Go sit on it. At least you stay there for another year, and then you can transfer again. But no, that some of these guys just get told bad things, and then you get money, like you said, thrown around at you. Yep. And that's why, going back to the Duke thing, I don't mind these lawsuits and saying, or even Dabo going after him and giving this to the NCAA. Hey, we know that tampering's happening, but this is over the line. Like, this shit needs to stop. He was already in class. It was 8 a.m. He's literally in class texting another coach. It's just, to me, this is where you need to lock this shit down, set some limits, and show these young men some standards of how to act. Because
once you sign, I feel like there's got to be a thing where once you sign in the transfer portal, you are barred from entering or transferring again until the next calendar year.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
There's got to be some leeway, or not leeway, but limits here, guys. I mean, I don't mind the transfer portal. I do think you can transfer as many times as you want. Things a little too much legally. What can you do though until things get settled with these contracts and they're more binding? But when it comes down to this, it's just dirty.
Maybe put a clause in there like, okay, while that you can't make them not transfer and you can't lock them in on a contract, maybe necessarily. However, you can put a clause in there that if you decide to transfer before the year is out, you are responsible for paying back all scholarship money and money that was promised or paid.
Yeah, they got to figure
something along those lines. Make it monetary. These kids ain't going to want to pay that money back.
No.
And they certainly are going to want to pay the $20,000, $30,000 a year that it costs to actually go to this university.
Yeah.
Or whatever university. I mean, if you're in a bigger university like Duke or something, I'm pretty sure it's like closer to $50,000 for 1 year of scholarship. Like some of these kids the regular students, they come out with $200,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's a mess. I don't mind Dabo going out and reading the receipts, because there's so many coaches too, Trevor, that will say, well, somebody's tampering, but they don't say anything about it.
Let's call them out.
Like Dabo said, if you got something to say, stand on it.
Hey, guess what? Newsflash. I know all you guys know this, but newsflash: SEC dirty as fuck.
Yeah. Hey, there's a reason that Ole Miss became relevant back in the day, and it wasn't just because Hugh Freeze is a damn good coach. All right, but it does happen everywhere. It's not just an Ole Miss thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: there is a part of me that also wants to call out Michigan a little bit, because they got a kid that was already enrolled in Utah that hadn't played a snap for them, and re-entered the portal and went to Michigan. So in a way, I would call that as also tampering.
Yeah.
Once the kid is signed, leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah. There's got to be some sort of rules, guys. We'll see what happens.
I will call out my own team. I will call out any team that you guys want to point me in the direction to. If there is evidence of them signed with a team and they're being contacted by coaches to re-enter the portal or enter the portal and decommit, I'm sorry, that's tampering all day long.
And that's where this needs to get hammered down, and we'll see what happens on the legal side of it all.
And maybe you just need to start finding these coaches that make these contests, like finding them $2.5 million or some ridiculous number.
I think I saw that tampering is like a level 2 NCAA violation or some shit like that. But does the NCAA have any teeth? You know, this is like,
I mean,
maybe
they
the
do
last
against
hurrah.
technically the NCAA definitely has some teeth against the coaches.
Yeah.
They can put some money down on those coaches. They can, I think that they should look, because of the transfer portal and the just the cutthroat, I guess, business that it is, that if there is evidence of tampering and it gets turned into the NCAA, I think it should be a $1 million fine to the school, a $500,000 fine to the coach that did it, and a playoff ban to the team.
Yeah. Some game suspensions for the coaches.
Games, like that. I'm sorry, but the other kids, I know they're going to say, oh, the kids didn't do anything wrong. Well, I'm sorry. These kids, these student athletes they're the people that are put in charge of them, of their care and of their ethical sportsmanship are not being ethical or being sportsmanlike at all.
Yeah.
So I think that the entire football program should be punished to every extent of the law. I don't think the players should get punished like that because they have been given the right to transfer as they see fit. But you can do a 1-year playoff ban, and I promise you that school's going to learn their lesson real quick because all them players that were 5 stars and elite 4 stars, they bye-bye.
They bye-bye. Smoke too. But I don't know, guys. Let us know what you think about old Dabo. Is he right to call him out? If you're tampering, hey, say something. If you don't like it, say something. Otherwise, shut up. You can't complain. In my opinion, I agree with Dabo on that.
That's right.
So, guys, let us know. We appreciate you joining us. I know during the snow apocalypse that's going on across the country, you know, the ice is starting to set on the windows. You know, back there it was when I looked first before the show. And hopefully power doesn't cut out. You know, we'll see. Let us know, you know, how you guys are holding up. Have you gotten your milk and bread and your whiskey? That's the most important part.
Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. Be warm. Hope everybody stays safe during this time.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate y'all watching. We'll be posting this on our Spotify, and we are also on Apple, iHeart, and Amazon Music as well. If you want to listen to this while you're driving around, hopefully you're not driving around on the ice.
Yeah, there's some people I've seen on videos already.
They're not afraid, and there's some places that are still open right now. So just be careful out there, guys, and we'll catch you on the next show.
All right, see you later.
Later, guys.